that's exactly how our people are today. Who is that getting some money over there? You know what I'm saying?
Read that last part again.
Which part?
Yeah. Oh, young.
But that's what they did, man. The Bloods and the Crips, that was established by the so-called white man. As long as you Negroes was at each other's throats for simple shit, you wouldn't be focused on the bigger picture. You would be too dumbified to understand that the ones that's really calling the shots and bringing the guns and the drugs into your field is us. Because you're too stupid to be looking at fighting against your own people. Like I said, different shades of brown. That's why if there's any tension between Southern Kingdom and Northern Kingdom, it's just because we look different. They don't look like us. But Jake could find, look in school, man, Jake found the dumbest reasons to beef with one another. You was wearing certain shoes. You was wearing a certain color. I'm over in my cousin neighborhood, what is that, Monarch? Castle Point, right? Cousin neighborhood, we over there walking, hey man, you wearing blue. So? Can't be wearing blue. Somebody might jump. Nah, I never care about that shit. But that's what Jake do. Simpleton Jakes. Neighborhood versus neighborhood. Oh, you go to this school. I don't like it because you go to this school. As if that person really has a choice on what school he goes to. It's wherever your parents got you at, nigga. In your district. Oh, but they go to the east. I'm in the west. So I beef with you. Simple shit like that. Esau has programmed that into a Jake system to always look to hate upon one another. That goes back to the curses.
Right. If I might add real quick, Esau, the origin of the gangs, the Blood and the Crip, was to protect the community from the Edomites in the beginning. Bloods and the Crips. But when he introduced drugs and money into the organization, then it created an environment of war. Now you gotta protect the money that you're making now, and it was Esau infiltrated it, you know, and turned it into what you see today. You know, the origin, our people was tired of getting their ass kicked by Esau, so they came up like, okay, well, we gonna protect our communities from them. But when they saw how that was happening and it was working, well, we're gonna introduce drugs to them. Then we're gonna lock them up for the shit. So it was like a whole system set up to keep the alpha males out of the way.
Okay.
We good.
Okay.
And that shit's so petty and stupid, dude.
You know? Yeah. Now it's like the younger generation don't understand.
We just said, why are you mad? Because we said we didn't want none. We got water already.
Provocateur. And Dasani ain't got no good pH.
Exactly.
Wow.
You mad because we don't want none?
Cameron didn't see it. Edomite offered us water. We kindly said we're okay. He just throws the bag.
That goes back to that first address.
Oh yeah. I'm with y'all. We good. Man, fuck y'all. Go ahead.
Fuck y'all niggas.
What's the point of it? Whatever. Okay. Probably laced or something else.
Right. That shit ain't even good pH balance no damn way.
Yeah, bring us some Fiji smart water or some essential water.
Yeah.
You really like it. With a gift card with it.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
1%. Yeah. This is.
Hold on.
7. This is book of Exodus chapter 1 and verse 7. And the children of Israel were fruitful and increased abundantly and multiplied and waxed exceedingly mighty, and the land was filled with them. Now there arose a new king over Egypt which knew not Joseph. And he said unto his people, Behold, the people of the children of Israel are more and mightier than we. Come on, let us deal wisely with them, lest they multiply, and it come to pass that when there falleth out any war they join also unto our enemies and fight against us, and so get them up out of the land.
See, that was back in Egypt, Pharaoh. But that's how all these other nations think. It's all about keeping Israel on the bottom. Why do you think when we left out of Egypt, the other nations, they weren't rejoicing? They didn't meet us with gifts and water. They were pissed. They like, them niggas is free? That's a problem. That goes to show you right there, especially when I woke with this truth, I was furious, man. And I realized that the reason why these devils got the systematic oppression put in place, all these things to stupefy you or whatever, is because they fear your potential. That angers me because I'm a product of that, man. I grew up in a dysfunctional home. Siblings that don't get along, parents divorced, all that because Esau preferred it that way because he didn't like the fact that he doesn't want us to enact all our potential. That pissed me off because that affected me personally, man. Like, wait a minute, you did all this all because you're afraid of what we could possibly be. But you see, you simpleton jakes, y'all don't think that deep. Esau does, but you don't. We reading a letter. These is devils talking amongst one another on how they can maintain dominion over the slaves. And the best way to keep slaves as slaves is to put them against another. Use their size, use their differences. Reward one slave for being able to talk proper. Let him sleep in the house. And then that's why you got Uncle Tom, that's why you got house niggas and field niggas. You got Sambos. This was all done by design. You see? Let me bring a little more on that. This is what these devils do, but you stupid Negroes, you don't go that far. You don't go this deep. They covered all this up, man.
Yeah.
But it's out there. It's just like Abraham Lincoln.
When we read the articles on
Yeah, Abraham Lincoln said that he would never envision a world where we get along, and he's always in favor of the white man over the black man.
Yep.
But they don't tell you that. Look, you go into certain stores and jobs and stuff, they'll have quotes from Theodore Roosevelt. I'm like, wait a minute, that man was a devil.
Yeah.
That man hated the Negroes. But you got this quote here. Oh, Theodore Roosevelt said, anybody can dream such and such. Well, why don't you put
But the real,
why don't you put the quotes where he was hating Negroes?
yeah, exactly.
You know? You see, you Jakes, y'all not deep. Y'all are superficial. Y'all just look on the out. Well, they say they love us and they want equal opportunity, but like the brother said earlier, your actions prove what you're really about.
Right.
If every opportunity this man has the power to do what's right and if he don't do what's right, that means he's not going to do it. Because the Ethiopian can't change his skin or leopard his spots. The devil was always the devil.
Right.
In the star it says, the part where it says dark and light, you must use dark-skinned slave versus the light-skinned slave, and the light-skinned slave versus the dark-skinned slave. You must use the female versus the male, and the male versus the female. Yeah. You must also have white servants and overseers who distrust all blacks, but it is necessary that your slaves trust and depend on us. They must love, respect, and trust only us. Gentlemen, these kids are always keys to control. Use them. Have your wives and children use them. Never miss an opportunity. Yeah, you see these devils as opportunists. If used intensely for 1 year, the slaves themselves will remain perpetually distrustful. Thank you, gentlemen. Keep going. Let's make a slave. It was the interest in business of slaveholders to study human nature, and the slave nature in particular, with a view to practical results. I and many of them attained astonishing proficiency in this direction. They had to deal not with earth, wood, and stone, but with men, and by every regard they had for their own safety and prosperity, they needed to know the material on which they were to work. Conscious in the injustice and wrong they were every hour perpetuating.
All right, jump down to where it says, let's make a slave.
It says, let's make a slave, the original development of a social being called the Negro. Let us make a slave. What do we need? First of all, we need a black nigger man, a pregnant nigger woman, and a baby nigger boy. Second, we will use the same basic principle that we use in breaking a horse, combined with more sustaining factors that we do with horses is that we break them from one form of life to another. That is, we reduce them from their natural state in nature, whereas nature provides them with a natural capacity to take care of their offspring. Well, we break that natural string of independence from them and thereby create a dependency status so that we may be able to get from them useful production for our business and pleasure.
So you see, they refer to breaking down the Negro as to breaking down the horse. You see, Esau is deep when it comes to psychological breakdowns. See, a lot of you Israelites, you always want to talk about what's wrong with the black community, this and that and that. But you don't know that the origins all go back to the fact that it goes to slavery. It all goes back to the effects of slavery. But we're not in slavery anymore, but the effects of slavery is still here. Why is it that a Negro gets mad? That's why they call it crabs in the barrel. Why is it a Negro get mad if all of a sudden I come upon a blessing, now he wants out the chute? Because he was taught in slavery that mind state was that any Negro that's above you, y'all gotta hate him. And the Negro that's on top, he looked down on the other Negroes. That's why you had the field Negro and you had the house Negro. The house Negro said, I'm better than y'all niggas. Master this, master that, I sleep in the good house. Y'all just feel this.
You think that on Django too.
Yeah, exactly. It all goes back to the effects of slavery. The reason we are like Esau want to look down on us all, y'all just ghetto and y'all just want to kill it. Well, who put that in our thoughts to look upon one another, to hate one another? It goes back to slavery, you devils. Which it goes back to the curses as well, because that's what they did. They turned us against us. You don't see all this folly and shit going on with other nations. It's only amongst our people.
And they won't tell you about before our people was like this. Before, when our people was kicking their ass. Before, when our people was well off, had our own lands, and the Most High was divinely guiding our leaders, man. They ain't gonna tell you about that. They ain't gonna tell you that we're directly affected by if we follow these laws or not. That you know, they're not gonna tell you that. Well, y'all situation to change if you obey the statutes and the law, statutes, and commandments. No, they're gonna make you think that it's their book. They're gonna make you think that it's something that's it's not right, or it's an oppressor's point of view or something.
Yeah.
You know?
They'll say the Bible is oppressive.
Right here it says both.
No.
This is Ezekiel chapter 35 and verse 9. I will make thee perpetual desolations, and thy city shall not return, and ye shall know that I am the Lord. Because thou hast said, these two nations and these two countries shall be mine, and we will possess it, whereas the Lord was there.
Yeah, you see, that's what they said. These two nations, these two countries are mine. Give me Jeremiah 30, 20. The two nations and the two countries referring to the northern kingdom and southern kingdom. And they said, look, we got them. Whereas the Lord was there. You see, we're there, but because we're on the bottom, they saying, and guess what? We ain't gonna let these niggas go, nigga. We got these niggas and we got these spics, and we ain't letting them go. That is why when we came out of Egypt, when we was in slavery, all was good for these other nations. They were all happy. But as soon as they heard that we came out of Egypt, now they want to go to war. What is that hatred? That's a perpetual hatred towards Jake, man. And that pisses me off, man. To see us doing good or coming out of slavery angers the nations, and they come and try to kill us. Esau was the first one to come at us with swords. Moab tried to curse us. So the Lord remembers that because he takes it all personal, and he should. The Lord has a plan and set, and here comes the other nations to ruin it because they only get happy when they see us on the bottom. Imagine how mad Ishmael will be, Moab will be, all these people will be mad if they saw that we actually had our own little country doing well. They're gonna be like, look, we need to bomb that motherfucker.
We can't make no more money off of it.
Yeah. Hey, that's why them Moabites are getting caught in Africa for coming in there and trying to supplant. They being called out like, y'all a bunch of deceivers. Y'all don't belong here. Get the fuck out. Why you over there trying to make some money? Why can't you make money in your own country? Because they want to make money off of Jake.
Kind of make a point. What if you had a friend, right? And every time he see you at the bottom or you suffering, he happy and shit. That'll piss you off. Like,
And I had people like that.
Yeah.
I had friends like that. I had to cut them off. Once I realized, I wasn't low of understanding, but I slowly realized over time, I'm like, you know, you're not even a friend. You were never a friend, to be honest.
Yeah.
You were only happy when we were both on the bottom. But the second I got a little bit of something, now it was FD, all this other stuff. I realized that. All right, I actually had to cut this guy off once I realized that. And my mom always like, oh, what happened? I'm like, Mom, I'm telling you, he's never a friend, to be honest. I wanted him to be a friend, but he was never a friend. Exactly, man. It's how people is. They like the scripture say, a friend cannot be known in prosperity. And an enemy, no, a friend cannot be known in adversity, but an enemy cannot be hid in prosperity. Oh man, the scriptures got it all.
Hey, they do. They do. And a lot of people don't realize this is Jeremiah chapter 33 and verse 23. Moreover, the word of the Lord came to Jeremiah, saying, Considerest thou not what this people have spoken, saying, The two families which the Lord hath chosen, he hath even cast them off. Thus they have despised my people, that they should be no more a nation before them.
See, because they had us, we was on the bottom, and they was like, hey, look, the Lord done left them, so they are us now. We're going to do whatever.